Hello everybody, and welcome back to Space Engine. We are currently high over Mars. I was grabbing video, or like footage for my Mars video. I do a lot of Mars videos, which is weird because Mars isn't really my favorite planet. Like it's a fun planet, but it's not my favorite place. I'd say Venus is my favorite planet, and Titan is my favorite moon, or just location in general. But I talk about Mars a lot because people like Mars or something. I don't know. It's a fun planet. Anyways, we're gonna head off into the galaxy. Let's just find a random star and go that way. I wonder, what's that? Ooh, Capella. Oh, there's the Pleiades. Aldebaran. Nice. Andromeda. Try to find something fun to go to. That's gonna be... Well, that's just the sun. Huh, I don't think we were that far away. I mean, I did fly away from Mars at a pretty good clip, so who knows. Anyways, what is new in the world? Well, there's a lot of things that are new in the world. I mean, there was the whole submarine fiasco, which, yeah, I kind of saw it coming, to be perfectly honest. The CEO of that company, like, repeatedly, people were like, yo, safety is not up to code. You really should go get this, like, certified. And, you know, pay attention to the professionals. And he was all like, nah, all those regulations get in the way. The safety regulations aren't needed. It's perfectly fine. This is totally fine. And yeah, it wasn't. So, oh, it's the Big Dipper. Which means that Polaris is right there. Yep, I knew it. And it's actually interesting because, like, first off, when I heard that the submarine is its pressure hull is carbon fiber, I was like, ooh, that's not good. I would not trust a carbon fiber pressure hull personally in a submarine. In a spaceship, sure, because it only has to take up to like what, well, 1 atmosphere or less. So it's like, yeah, for a spaceship, a carbon fiber pressure hull, fine. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But a submarine, I'd be like, ooh, yeah, no. You do not want a carbon fiber pressure hull in a submarine. So when I was hearing about it, it's like, oh, we're going to try to find them on the bottom of the ocean. And I'm just like, they're either floating on the surface somewhere, or it imploded. Like, I could not see an outcome where they were sitting on the bottom intact. So, yeah, it turns out it imploded. And I was like, oh. Well, there you go. More reason, or I say more reason for me to never consider a carbon fiber pressure hull for a submarine. It's not a good idea. People are like, oh, it's stronger than steel, and it's like, that's tensile strength. It's different. You have to conceive, when building any type of vehicle or structure, you have to choose a material that will work in those conditions. So, it's like spider silk is stronger than steel in terms of tensile strength of the same size, like the same width of fiber, but you wouldn't trust a spider web as a rope. Like, it's just like the tensile strength doesn't always mean what you think it means. So, yeah. I have seen some work done on concrete submarines where they make the pressure hulls out of concrete, and I don't think I would trust that for a deep dive, but for a shallow water submarine, it's like I could see some advantages. For one, it would allow, oh, the gas giant itself has life. For one, it would allow much easier buoyancy control, because since your submarine's already heavy, you wouldn't need so much ballast to make it neutrally buoyant. I think the company that I saw, this was a long time ago. I was reading about it, but I think they were making like submarine yachts. So yeah, shallow water submarines, and they're kind of cool. But I wouldn't trust. There's just if you're going really really deep, it's like you want a steel sphere. I'm just saying. I yeah, it's not funny, but I mean, if it was just the CEO by himself, then honestly, it would be funny because he would have been one of the people who was killed by his own stupidity. But he had four other people with him, so it's like, oh, son of. I know two of them were billionaires, which don't really matter. But it's so dumb. It's like I have a rule. It's like, ooh, what the hell did I do? Huh. Whoa. I have a rule where it's like anyone's allowed to build a dangerous machine, a dangerous vehicle, an airplane, a submarine, a car, a boat, a rocket, and they're allowed to put themselves into danger operating their dangerous machine, like that one daredevil who killed himself in a steam rocket. That was a tragedy, but he was well within his rights to do that. It's like, yeah, you're going to build a dangerous machine, go for it. You understand the risks and you do your own thing. But if you're going to take passengers in your dangerous machine, you really should defer to recommendations from experts and, like, basically go through the hoops to ensure safety. Don't disregard the safety of your passengers because you personally don't care. Even if they sign a waiver saying, oh yeah, I understand the risks, it's like they might not fully understand the risks. Like with a submarine, nobody on board fully understood the risks because they never pointed out, yeah, like their waivers did say, oh yeah, the submarine isn't certified and it might kill you, but they didn't explain why. So no, people on board that submarine expected it to operate at the same level of danger as other submarines, which is very much not the case. So it's like, if you're building a dangerous machine for you to operate, that's fine, because you understand the risks, you understand how it's put together, it's your thing. Do not take passengers on your dangerous machine unless you go through official channels. Even like I build dangerous machines sometimes, not as dangerous as a Titan or a Titanic submarine, but things that could potentially cause damage or injury. And even if it's just me mucking around with them, I still go through official channels and try to make sure that I get as much insight and legality, official stuff as I can. Even my weather balloons, it's like they're well within the limits of being unregulated because they're below 15 cubic meters and all that. But I will still contact official sources and get information and let them know what's going on and get feedback and stuff, because when dealing with, again, what I call dangerous machines, there's nothing that says you can't, like, make it as safe as possible. Like, it isn't just a matter of, oh, I want to build this and try to avoid things. It's like, no, you can make it safe. Even with my rockets, it's like my peroxide rocket that I'm working on, that's a dangerous machine because they could potentially harm me and other people. So I've been going through official channels to get information and stuff and try to figure out how to operate it properly because it's a dangerous machine. And I would love to do a high altitude balloon, like actually fly in one to the edge of space. And if I did that, I wouldn't let anybody else use it but me because it's a dangerous machine, and I wouldn't trust I wouldn't trust my dangerous machine to keep other people safe. So that's my biggest takeaway, is I can't believe he allowed other people into his dangerous machine. It's like, no, don't do that. Like, there are there's, I think, 10 submarines that can reach the Titanic, and I mean, they're not tourist vehicles, but they're far better to go in than the garage built submarine. And it's like, I've thought about making a submarine too, but if I ever built a submarine, it would be a shallow water submarine. I'm talking like 30 feet deep max. Like, deep enough that if anything goes wrong, you can just, like, flood it, pop the hatch, and swim to the surface with like a little air tank kind of thing. I would not. I would never trust myself to build a deep diving submarine. It just doesn't. I wouldn't trust it. Oh, the moons have life. Let me guess. Yeah, mini Aquaria. And that's just me. Oddly enough, I would trust myself to build like a suborbital rocket and a high altitude balloon, but not a submarine. And I think it comes down to just like the ocean is hard, man. Like a lot of people who watch this channel know that space has always been a big thing for me, but the ocean was kind of my first big interest. Like I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was what, kindergarten and grade 1? No. About from grade 1 to grade 6. I wanted to be a volcanologist in kindergarten because I was a nerd. Anyways, point is, the ocean was always a big thing for me, and all of my favorite books growing up were about the ocean. So I've pretty much known about the dangers and incredible, horrific nature of the ocean since I was a child because, well, I would just read everything, even things I probably shouldn't have read. Man, the early internet, not a good place. People always say, oh, I miss the early internet, but it's like, no. You really don't. You do not like being able to stumble upon things that you do not want to see by accident. It's a bit of a tangent, but it's important. So, point is, yeah, I've known full well the gruesome issues with trying to build machines to keep people alive in the ocean, because the internet was not a safe place for children back in the day. This is an interesting moon. Ugh, man, like what was it? In junior high, I think it was like accidentally finding a video of Saddam's execution because again, the internet was not a safe place back in the day. I do not miss the old internet. A lot of people do. I do not. I enjoy being able to browse the internet knowing that I'm not going to find accidental death videos. It was awful. Anyways, point is, so, yeah, building things to go into space, I would trust myself way more than going to the ocean because chances of survival, it's much easier to make yourself not die in those situations, oddly enough. Because, like, if you're in a high-altitude balloon, and it loses pressure, if you're wearing a pressure suit, you're fine. Like, it's annoying, but you cannot die. Like, you can easily find a way to not die in that situation. If you're in a submarine and it springs a leak, you just die immediately. Like, if it's a deep diving thing, it won't trickle water in. It will, like, carve you like those metal cutting, or like imagine like those granite cutting water jets. If a deep diving submarine springs a leak, that's what it does. It doesn't just drip in and fill with water. No. It will slice everything in that submarine up, and then like within a millisecond, it then collapses. Like springing a leak in a spaceship is like way more survivable than springing a leak in a submarine. As counterintuitive as it sounds, it's just how it is. So it's like, yeah, I would trust myself in a high altitude balloon. I would not trust myself in a homemade deep diving submarine. It wouldn't work. Oh, the news. And the news is being sensational as always. They like to do that because it's all just about money with the news. Besides social media, like social media, it does this thing where it intentionally amplifies controversy and extremism because it gets more attention, and basically it makes them more money. Because the more people that are clicking and commenting, the more money they make. They don't care if the clicking and commenting is bad, just as long as they're making money. And Facebook actually admitted to this, like straight up. They were like, "Yeah, I know, we do amplify like extremism because it boosts engagement." And the stupid thing is, this isn't even a modern thing. Like people think that clickbait is a new thing. It isn't. The ads, clicking on ads and stuff, like the format is new, but clickbait itself is not new. In fact, sensationalist fake news, as some might want to call it, has existed for as long as newsprint has existed. In fact, tabloid newspapers back in the day, like in the 1920s, were even worse than tabloids today. Like, you look at like the Daily Mail or the Express or the Sun or New York Post, where they'll just make stuff up and post like actually fake and false information. And you think, oh man, I can't believe they did that. But tabloids back in the day would be even worse. Like, they were like, like those fake newspapers at grocery stores where it's like Bat Boy and Loch Ness Monster moves to Ohio, stuff like that. They were that level of stupid, but they were branded as real newspapers, which made it even worse. One example I always like to cite is the Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, panic in the streets of America. It looks like it didn't actually happen. Like, there was reports of a few people who might have been confused by the radio play, but the actual mass panic in the streets and everyone in America thinking that Martians were invading, that never happened. It was like some people were annoyed by it because they wanted something else. Some people were confused by it, but most people who listened to that broadcast knew that it was just War of the Worlds and it was fake. But the news, as time goes on, made it worse and worse and worse because sensationalism gets clicks. And saying, oh yeah, a handful of people temporarily believed that there was Martians invading is less sensational than Orson Welles caused a panic that made everyone in America think the Martians were invading, and there were people in the streets. It's all just so dumb. So, and that's why I always say, just curate your social media. Like, you don't have to read everything everybody posts. You do not have to look through every stupid comment people make. I curate my social media I block politicians, I block brand accounts, I hate brand accounts, and I ignore news sources, and I only follow people I care to hear about, mostly scientists. So my Twitter experience is great because I don't see any of that crap. But other people, they have this compulsion where I think it's fear of missing out, where they have to just go through everything everybody says, and they have to read every comment, and they have to look through every negative story and read every post by every politician. And it's like, you don't have to do that. You're killing yourself, literally. Being stressed and angry all the time shortens your lifespan. It's all annoying. Or like, one thing I will say I enjoy. This isn't working. Oh, does the planet have life? Oh, the planet itself has life. One thing I'm enjoying is people are starting to blame Zoomers for everything instead of millennials. But there are people who still blame millennials for things. And I'll see something, and this always makes me laugh. It'll be like, oh, it has aerial life, but it's interesting. Like there'll be people who would post like pictures of like young people, and they'd be like, oh, millennials are being entitled for something, or are killing an industry because they don't want to do this or whatever. And they're talking about people who were like early 20s and teens, and it's like, those aren't millennials, my guy. And some people don't actually know how old millennials are, and they treat millennial as just a term for young person, the youths. And it's like, well, okay, I'm a young millennial. Like, I was born in the last 3 years of the millennial cohort, so I'm a youth millennial, a young millennial, and I turned 30 this year. Like, the young millennials are turning 30 within the next couple years, and the old millennials are in their early 40s. So you have people who are like, oh yeah, these millennials are, killing industry because they're doing this or that, or they're just out doing young people things. And it's like, I'm not a youth. The youths, as I like to say sarcastically, because it's funny. It's like, I'm a young man, but I'm not young enough to be in that category. It's like, no. I turned 30 this year. I'm I guess you could say young adult still. I think that brand or that term extends until about 40. But it's like, yeah, no, I'm 30 or I'm almost 30. I don't feel old, but I'm certainly not a early 20s or a teenager, which is great because my 20s sucked. But it's like, oh man, the news. So I just ignore most of it. Any news that I want to see, I look it up, or if it's important enough, it'll show up somewhere. But I don't care to subject myself to just constant fighting and negative people. And even like if I go onto Twitter, and I will do this sometimes, if I see a conspiracy theorist, I'm like, all right, let's give it a go. So I will, let's go to the star. I will ask them a question, and I give them one chance to respond intelligently. And if they can respond intelligently, I'll continue. And if they don't, I just mute the conversation and carry on. And frequently, they just don't respond intelligently. So I just go, all right, cool. And I just mute them and carry on. And I'll sometimes see that they're still commenting. I never read their comments because it's like, I don't care. They can yell into the void all they want. I have better things to do with my life. But it's like, I do that to conspiracy theorists a lot, especially like, not so much flat earthers because most of them are fake. But yeah, you just say something and then just leave, and it makes them mad. And they spend their time thinking they're arguing with you and getting mad at you, but you're not reading any of their comments. And it's funny because it's like they're wasting their time, but you're doing something important with your life. Anyways, that's 22 minutes, so I'm going to end it off there. So, yeah, if you have any ideas of where you want me to go or things to talk about, let me know. This was just news, basically, me complaining about the media. Maybe I am an old man, who knows? So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed space.